how did you decide we want to do PPE?
I was looking at the teams and then I realized, there's a gap here. Maybe let's do this. And I explained to her.
So do you guys have degrees in manufacturing?
No, none of us have experience.
Nope.
Our experience is on the job.
Nope.
So God really wanted you guys to just do this
Yeah,
business.
we did.
Did you ever feel like you want to quit along the line?
We quit every day.
So now that you're in business, how do you make decisions as partners?
There are fights that we'll have regarding the business, and we have to agree. Even as much as we will disagree, we have to get to a point of understanding that business is business.
Yeah.
You started as two individuals, really corporate, when they believed in each other. And that now you're supplying one of the massive manufacturing. Is it also in the manufacturing space now?
It's in the oil and gas industry.
Oil and gas industry. Are you hiring your friends and family?
We were very clear that we don't employ
Don't
family.
do those things. Okay.
No. So
What actually we took out of this big contract, people start to take you serious. Because the very same suppliers, when we were asking for the same service, they would keep saying no.
Yeah.
But when we went back,
I have this
I
client
have
now.
this client, they were willing.
initially, when we started, we were a little cozy family, and she was like, "Oh no, it's fine. You can stay, stick around." But then you realize that the customer demands from us,
Quality,
so we
service.
need to demand from our team as well.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back again to Procurement Dialogues. I'm your host, Lerato, and in today's episode, I just want to share with you something so fascinating because I have two ladies that have built a successful PPE business that focuses on workwear, different branding items. You guys will tell us more about it. So welcome, Belu and Ausi Thabisile.
Tabi. Yes.
Thabisile.
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 In full. Yeah.
Okay. Welcome to Procurement Dialogues.
Thank you for having us. Yeah, we're excited to be here.
We are.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So people call you sisters?
Yep.
And business partners?
Yeah, we are.
Friends?
Yeah.
Yes, in
Prayer
Everything.
prayer partners.
Twins.
Twins.
They also call
Yeah,
us
that's a
twins.
new one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Starting a business is not easy in JOE1.
Yeah.
I can imagine if it's two people. How did you guys come together with this business?
All right. So we were both in corporate over 10 years. I was in the corporate for 14 years, and I think she was also in corporate for about 12 years. And I was working in the bank doing systems analysis, and she was in procurement. So when we both had a yearning, I know for a fact that I had always wanted to be in business, just that I didn't know what to do. And she had also been doing business prior to leaving the business, the
like side
company.
gigs and
Yes,
stuff.
yeah. I also did business. Like what I did was my first business was called Dynamic Domestics.
Okay.
I used to place domestic helpers, and we'd clean like new apartments, new buildings. And let me allow you to speak about your
No,
own
it's
first
fine.
business.
You will. Yeah,
So
I will.
that was the first thing that I did.
Yeah.
And I worked during the time that I was expecting my second child. So I had 6 months maternity leave. And in that 6 months, I built the business and it was doing very well. And I didn't want to go back to work, but life challenges, I had to go back to work.
Okay.
And at least in that 6 months, I knew. But then I did have someone else that stayed in the business and ran the business without me. But there were challenges. You know, when you're running a business remote control, you've got no control about what's happening. And you don't have, and I think the challenge was the person that I had was not in it as much as I was. And for them, it was more like a salary. And I believe that when you're running a business, you have to have a team that buys into your vision.
Got you.
And I think that's the part that I missed when I employed that person. Yeah.
So that's what inspired your entrepreneurial spirit.
That was my first business. I always said I was called into be business. That's what I would say, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Love it. So your story, and I just want to know how you ended up having to start this one.
Yeah, I will get there.
Yeah, so you were also in corporate doing procurement.
Yes.
Yeah.
Funny enough, with me, I'm an artist.
Okay.
You see, so I started doing pictures. We call it abstract art.
Yeah.
And the love grew where people were encouraging me to actually do pieces as well as to, design their homes, because I was really good when it come to interior designing, just place things. And I opened a company. So that company was Flexible Designers. And really, I did a lot of work for my community, because at the time, my goal was to turn a small house functional.
Okay.
So the kind of furniture we were producing was to maximize or the space without really making them feel that they have a small kitchen. We grew up in Soweto where for 2 steps the kitchen is done. So the focus was that. So then I got popularity where my neighbors, where I Kaya in Protea Glen, I think we did about over 10 houses because they like what they saw Ekaya, where we did our kitchen and so forth. So then this thing became serious. It's like, let me register a business. However, I was still working as a procurement strategist with this Hilton hotels.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of traveling because it was not a national mandate. So you had to be out of the country. So leaving someone, I think that's where it fell apart. And, in my case, it was sad because with our, because we had the manufacturing as well to manufacture our pieces. And when I came back and I was told that the equipment is stolen, and those equipment was not
Cheap equipment.
cheap equipment.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of money. So I decided, you know what, this is really, becoming a cost to me. And the partner at the time that I had, again, he was more for a salary. And, so I decided I will fold because I am the business. So, yeah, that's how I started.
So technically, both have the same story.
Yeah.
You started a business. You were excited about,
Yeah.
placing domestic workers, home, assistants during your maternity leave. Went back to work. The business crumbled.
Yeah.
You also started the design work, kitchen and homes. Got a job that needed your national tour. Came back, collapsed. Then how do you come together? At what point?
So, so we met, and I think our talk had always been, it'd be nice, we're sharing. This is the business that I started, and this is the business that she started, and we talked about it. We talked about it, I think, for like a year. And we're like, what, it'd be nice. We started dreaming, when you literally sit on a Sunday afternoon and all you're doing is daydreaming about how business would be together and how we would employ people, the things we would have, the houses.
So you've
we'd
always
have.
been friends?
Actually,
Or church friends?
no, we actually met. Maybe you should
Okay.
start where how we actually met.
Oh, I was doing my MBA.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was doing my MBA, and one of the research things that I had to do was with the hotel. So I phoned a friend and I said, listen, I'm looking for a person who works in a hotel because this is what I'm looking for. And then she connected me with Utabe. And I remember I had to go with a team, and I was late, and the person that I was with got there early. And obviously, I was not supposed to meet with her. I was supposed to meet with her, I think her manager.
No, you're supposed to meet up with our, who was it? I think a director.
Yeah,
but
director or something.
She was busy.
Yeah, so
Then you
she,
I was tasked,
yeah.
talk.
So then we started, like after that day, we started talking, and then she called me like, listen, let's have coffee. How's your assignment? How are things going? And then that's how we became friends.
Oh, then fast forward.
Yes, fast forward.
Now you're friends. Now you're daydreaming about, it would be nice to own something like this.
And at the time, it was like it was going to happen quick. We'd have the Bentleys tomorrow, and and then we agreed. And then what we did was, we started getting contracts with government.
Yes.
We started getting contracts with government because I already had a registered company. She already had a registered company. And then we decided we were going to use the one my one. And then we went in 50-50 into the business. And we
So were
decided-
you clear then what type of business you want to do?
No.
To be honest with you, no.
No.
Okay.
Initially, it was like just to do quotations and tenders.
Every quotation we come across.
Yeah.
So jack of all trades.
Jack
Yeah.
of all trades.
The supplier, supply
Yeah,
deliver.
we're supplier. Yeah, that's
And
what
then-
you did.
Yeah, and then Thabisile says, okay, for us to work, one of us has to leave work. Let me leave first.
So was it starting to be demanding?
It was.
It was. Yeah.
Okay.
So she left work. And
So what gave you the courage?
Sure. Yeah. Ne? It's
It's usually hard for
Yeah,
one
it
to
is.
just stop corporate work.
You know, I think what gave me a courage it was the fact that someone started to believe in us, and I realized that we need to take ourselves serious now. We cannot really work behind the scenes, and so I said, if we put it all, and probably something good will come out of it. And I think what we used to laugh about and share and say, we need to change this is, I think most of our biggest challenge was, what exactly do you do? That question used to bug me. I was like, no.
So when you go to pitch, you didn't even know what to say. Because the supplier, tomorrow supplier pen, tomorrow it's cleaning, tomorrow.
I'll tell you a story. She phoned me. I was at work because obviously she said, okay, just stay at work. She phones me. She says, come, let's meet at reception. Where I go. She goes, yes, in Nkala. Every time I go, I don't even know what I'm doing. Nkala decided today what we are doing.
So what were you supplying then?
So we were supplying. Yes, there was part of PPE. So we will buy and resell brand and stationery. And because of my background, I would know that when they need crockery, cutlery, where to buy it, and we would service those customers that, but where we need to pitch for what we do, our services are like
a whole catalog.
No, meat, we do everything. Meat, pencil, shoes,
sugar, tea and coffee, PPE,
uniform. And this guy says to me, my girl, you cannot be doing all
supermarket.
this.
You're a supermarket.
Please, what exactly you guys offer?
So that was for you
that
an
was an
enlightening moment.
aha moment.
Okay.
I said, wow, he is right. And I took that, she's right. I didn't even want to go back home because at the time our office was home.
Yeah.
I went straight to her. I said, hey, first, we need to talk. We have a challenge here. I think since then.
I just want to touch on the element of trust. Business is trust. Since you just established a business, you were doing this thing, side hustle, it was demanding. Now you're like, no, listen, one of us must be available for this full time. Then I'll be the one. Did you feel anxiety? Do you think maybe she might drop along the way? Did you feel, hey, what if it doesn't? Next, she's going to blame me because now you stopped your job. Like the element, that must have been...
To be honest with you, I don't think we ever had that. Actually, as you asked the question, I'm thinking, we've never had any point in our lives where I don't trust that, wherever she's going, she's representing us, or what I'm doing, I'm representing us. I think we've always, it was just an automatic thing. Don't ask me how.
No, but no. She reminds me all the time. We were praying.
Yeah.
We were praying daily
for the business.
For the business.
Okay.
That's one thing. Okay. Background wise, because when she met me, at the time, I had spent a lot of time with a lot of pastors because I have a pastor friend.
Okay.
So I was inclined when it comes to my, trusting and faith in God, and anything that you will say or do,
Your spirit was alert.
it was like, hey, let's pray, let's do this.
I found it strange though.
She
In the
used to find
beginning-
it
a
strange.
strong Christian.
I was not then.
So when you were like this,
I was not even aware I was.
She was.
Because when she's related to me, I never felt it. I thought
Like
it's
for
part of
everything.
thing. It's part of life.
Everything. Let's stand that. And she would say, "Asitandas," and I would keep quiet and let her pray because I didn't know what to say. I couldn't. For me, the background I had, this whole praying together Pentecostal thing, it was not my thing.
I see.
So I think maybe that, in hindsight, I mean, in the background, actually helped. There was never a day till to date. We prayed to get together.
Nice. So now you start the business. At what point then do you actually also resign and then go into
The very next year,
Okay.
what I did was I resigned, and at work they said to me, instead of just resigning, why don't you just work some days of the week? And I said, okay, fine, I'll work like 2-3 days a week. And I did that. And I said one day, I said to her, this thing is not working, because the business was starting to demand a lot from me as well. And I decided, no, I left. So I literally left. And she was like, no, don't leave, because the salary that I was getting at the time was also helping us as the business.
so sometimes
So
to
I was
bounce.
like, I think let's suffer together. It's going to be fine, you know.
So what year was this now?
It was in 2011.
11,
Yeah.
yeah.
Meaning 2-3 years in it?
No. Literally
We
started 2010.
2010.
Yeah.
Oh, 1 year
Yeah.
later. So now you're in business, both of you.
Yeah.
How did you decide we want to do PPE?
She decided.
She
decided after that long list.
Yeah.
And she was like, no, we're doing PPE. I'm
So-
like, you need PPE.
Okay.
So okay, some of the sites that we delivered this so-called products. So I was standing there, I'm waiting for this guy to sign in. I look around, I'm like, no, man, we need to manufacture. We're tired of being the middleman, So, I told her, I said, listen, when I was standing there in one of the sites, I was looking at the teams and then I realized, there's a gap here. Maybe let's do this. And I explained to her, this is what we're going to do. The PPE is the overalls, and they do it because we're delivering in one of the construction company. And I realized that, this woman was wearing this baggy overall, and I looked at her, I'm like, this is not right, So from there, we came back and we started really, we didn't know much about it. We started really, researching about it. That's where probably we find out that this industry, it is very male dominated. So, and regulated.
Yeah,
So-
that would be my imagination. That
So it was really hard, because now the minute we decided this is what we want to focus on, remember now the tea and coffee business, it's no longer, we are no longer focusing. So we are trying to learn this new thing. We need to understand what is the D59,
Yeah.
So yeah.
So how was that transition for you now that you realize money is not going to come through these other things? You have to now focus on getting clients here. And how was that, the transition?
To be honest with you, family, if it hadn't been for our families, because it was tough. There were times months where we would not have money at all. But I think because of the family that we have, that
Their
have always
support.
supported us.
Ah.
And when it came to contracts and stuff, like when it was a very big order, they would always be able to help us. So to be
Okay.
honest with you, I can genuinely say, even to this day, when, because it's a business that requires a lot of cash flow.
Yeah.
When we definitely have our backs against the wall, the family does definitely come through for us.
Did you know about funding options then, or you were not enlightened?
No.
No, we were not enlightened, to be honest with you.
I just want to add some comment on that transition. Remember, the tea and coffee, you don't need to sit on the board and present.
Yeah.
So it's a spot on, making
Straightforward.
straightforward.
Yeah.
So that business made us believe that the one that we are moving to is the same principle, and only to find out things are different there. You need to present, you need to do a sample, you need to be approved, you need to come back, you need to keep calling, keep
Sure.
coming back, it's not like wanting a pencil, So that was a big lesson for us, So sometimes you might just think the next venture, you should really understand that the pros and cons are not the same. So the one that we felt, we are everybody. It was really bringing cash quicker.
Yeah.
There was no day without money, you know. So that was a big lesson for us. So hence she's saying then family needed to step in. Yeah.
So now, okay, you've started this business. You're realizing, hey, it's needing a lot of requirements, and obviously it's a trial and error as you go along. Did you have your own place, or you were renting, operations? And by the time you decided you went operations, how did you go about it?
So, what we did was a very brave move in the sense that the first machine that we bought was an embroidery machine,
Okay.
which is a huge machine.
Yeah.
And initially we had it at home. And after a couple of days, the neighbors were complaining of the noise. So we had to run and go and look for a place.
So a little non-compliant.
We were very non-compliant. So what happened was we were forced to get a place, even though we were not ready to start paying rent because of that particular machine. And, the one mistake that I realized, because everything was a rush, the systems, the processes, the structures that we had to put in place when we started, we didn't do. And I think that's something that we would really, I think is something that we would give as an advice to say, if you're really thinking about going into that kind of business, manufacturing business, think about systems, think about processes, because those are the things that keep the business running. We were forced because of the
And there are
circumstances.
strict regulations around the process controls around in manufacturing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So do you guys have degrees in manufacturing?
No, none of us have experience.
Nope.
Our experience is on the job.
Nope.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah.
So God really wanted you guys to
We
just do
did.
this
Yeah,
business.
we did.
Did you ever feel like you want to quit along the line?
We quit every day, Lerato. Every day, even today, even yesterday on a Friday. Every day you want to quit because it's demanding, especially now in the space that we are in. We've got a manufacturing business. We've got people that we have to pay bi-weekly. We've got things that we need to take care of. And I mean, really, with the kind of infrastructure that we currently have, because now as a manufacturing company, we don't only just have the one embroidery machine, we've got embroidery machines, we've got sewing machines. And those are things that we and the people that have to be there. It's a challenge, but I think for us, the one thing, I'll be honest with you, as much as we've always, when we run a business, when you think about having a business, you're thinking, oh, when we have the business, we'll have money and we'll do A, B, C, and D. But the one thing that has really kept us going has been the people. For us, we always say that God has called us, not for ourselves, but for the people.
Serving
because
other people, yeah.
when we employ you, for example, we don't count you as one. We always count you as 4 people. It's you, your partner, and 2 kids. That's how we've always calculated it. So every time as we've run the business, our responsibility, we've felt a huge responsibility towards the family. So for years, Tabby and I did not get paid salaries. I'll be honest with you. We only started paying ourselves salaries about 3 years ago. And we've been in business for 15
And
years.
you see, that's something else I wanted us to also touch on. Ne? That now, let's say you've moved from that place, you've gotten a place you are renting, it's tough, getting money, orders. Firstly, how did you get your first order, your first big order?
Our first big order was with the construction
company.
Yeah,
the one that we're...
The current big order?
No.
Oh, okay.
The one we're delivering small off the shelves.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was it through a tender process or
No.
opportunities?
So we were doing the cold calling, and we were aspiring to get a salesperson that we could not afford.
Yeah.
So we met this guy who needed money that we can't even afford. So we said to him, okay, then that's fine. Let's give it a month. I think we said so. And we had a list of companies who say, listen, we want to go there, because he had an experience. And they said, okay, luckily, I know this guy. I once had this number, this company in this big construction company. So he arranged a meeting for us.
Okay.
So and then we went and we told our story. And really, this guy looked at us and said, okay, let me try you guys. They started putting,
just two pairs of
Two pairs of shoes.
one Conti suit.
Yeah.
And then the number started increasing. Yeah.
And really, and we are on their systems, and it started really ordering big. And, we are proud to say most of the malls that this company built, like Mall of Africa,
Wow.
the one N4, what is it?
The little falls, I forgot what it's called.
In Woodmead, and we were supplying them with the PPE,
Wow.
even in Pretoria. So it's one of those things that we look back. Like,
Wow.
wow, we were the first one to actually enter those malls and
Nice.
certain buildings that today.
So you're providing PPE to the contractors?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Listen, I would have never imagined PPE has a lot of opportunities, such a vast industry on its own.
Yeah.
It's some of those businesses one does not think about organically. Would you say that you were inspired by that guy sitting one day looking at this guy wearing baggy stuff and wondering, I'm sure we can fix this thing?
Yeah. That was our inspiration to say, you know what, we can actually manufacture something that accommodates
People
of that figure.
Okay.
That was the idea.
Nice.
Yeah.
So now that you're in business, you have orders, you're growing. How do you make decisions as partners? Your fights, how do you manage them? I mean, sure, people start and we've had stories, and then this thing was growing, chiki's gone down, they've liquidated, or one partner was mad, or one sabotaged another. How do you guys navigate conflict in some of these things?
Remember my first comment, she will add, because we've been praying all along. So that became a source. So it doesn't matter how mad I will be or how I want to, and we'll call each other, because I can just quote a scripture, said, listen.
The Bible is the mediator.
It definitely. Sometimes, and sometimes we live without really talking to each other. However, you get convicted because, I think that kept us grounded. It doesn't matter now, because everyone else knows us as prayer warriors and people that, now and then we'll share our biblical principles with certain people, how about doing this? It's not easy to be angry for over a day. What are you saying to the rest of the people? So that is the challenge, So now you need to live by your own words. So my anger is in a limit. I can't be too angry. So,
Yeah, but again, another thing is business is business, personal is personal. There are fights that we'll have regarding the business, and we have to agree. And what we did, a favor for ourselves, was to be very clear with our definition and our roles in the business.
Okay.
To say that, okay, this is your responsibility, this is my responsibility. And then even as much as we will disagree, we have to get to a point of understanding that business is business. She's right. There are times when we will not talk to each other personally, but the business has to go. We have to run the business.
I like that. Clear roles and responsibilities, because I'm sure I'm one person that like over planning, and I would panic. And sometimes even if I ask someone to do something and then I feel like they're taking too long, there's an element of me like, I could have done this thing like now.
Yeah.
So did you encounter some of those, like, I just want,
Yeah.
you don't understand. Dude, you need to, and then you end up doing it.
To a point that, I know my weaknesses. I know, for example, I'm not a procurement person. I know I want something, but don't ask me to find it, where, how much. And she's very, very good at it. She knows what it is that needs to be done. I am very good with I'm very analytical in my thinking. And I'm one person that when I want things done, I can do them very, very quick. Like I'll sit and say, listen, let me do it quickly because I know my strength. So I think it's important as business partners to know your strengths and your weaknesses. And when you are able to work around those, then it makes life easy. Then you know that this one is not... Now we've come to a point where she doesn't even ask me or I don't ask her. I'll say, listen, I'll do this. And she'll say, listen, I'll do that. Because we know our roles and it makes life easy for us.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the big order that you guys got of all time.
Wow.
You are now supplying nationally.
Nationally,
You don't need to
yes.
mention the client's name.
Yes.
But the point is, you started as two individuals, really corporate, when they believed in each other, and that
Yes.
now you are supplying one of the massive manufacturing. Is it also in the manufacturing space now?
It's it's in the oil and gas industry.
Oil and gas
Yeah.
industry. But you are their supplier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you go about that? Did you make mistakes in your tendering, proposals? Just from a point of inspiration for other people.
Yeah. Lerato, I'm going to sound as if everything about us is divine, but that was very divine.
Okay.
Honestly, I know it sounds,
Right time.
I'm very careful. I'm trying not to be sounding too divine-y, but
Spiritualizing everything.
exactly. But it was so divine
Okay.
in the sense that we had a friend, a common friend, that actually just told us about this place, and she obviously connected us and not connected us in the sense that they were looking for
Just tell you about the opportunity.
Yes, they were looking for a black female owned business, and we happened to be in the radar. So that's how we got it. So there was nothing in terms of
Just to add, because that common friend was already experiencing our product.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
she was supplying them. So it was easy for her to say,
recommendation.
actually, what you're wearing, they're the one actually manufacturing it for you. So
That's how they linked you guys.
Yes, yes, yes.
So now, in terms of running this big business, now you have a big client that needs you to supply nationally.
Yeah.
What were some of your risks, challenges, or the things that you've learned that you didn't foresee?
I'll be honest with you, the biggest one was cash flow.
yeah.
Cash flow.
Yeah, because remember, you are servicing a very big company that requires you to deliver to different sites. Cash flow was the biggest issue.
Okay.
And because we have most of our suppliers are people that it's cash basis.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But then since we've got this particular contract, what has helped us is that our suppliers have been more open to giving us account, which has really helped.
Yeah.
And then the other issue that we were having, obviously, you learn mistakes we made in terms of delivering time and stuff like that. But I think it really helped us to start really thinking about things to increase our capacity. I think we've always been people that have worked with small businesses. It was easier, but this one has really expanded our thinking, expanded the way that we think about the capacity in terms of production, capacity in terms of delivering, the way that we do it, excellence, the people that we hire. Because sometimes the one mistake that I think as employers we make a mistake is hiring the wrong people.
Yeah.
And we've also noticed
Learned
that we've learned, especially in the last year.
Were you hiring your friends and family, cousins?
No, we've
Oh,
thank
luckily.
goodness
Oh.
we were very clear that we don't employ
Don't
family.
do those things. Okay.
No, so
Okay.
it made our lives easy. But I think just employing wrong people in the sense that people that don't have the same vision.
Yeah.
Because I think we have to be very honest. As much as experience is good, there are certain elements that as a business you need to understand that this person is not a fit. And now we know how to say this one is not a fit. It's okay. It's not going to work for us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to add, what actually we took out of this big contract, people start to take you serious. Because the very same suppliers, when we were asking for the same service, they would keep saying no.
Yeah.
But when we went back,
I have this
I
client
have
now.
this client, they were willing.
Yeah.
You see
you
the
know.
power of perception and
Yeah.
building
Yeah.
a brand.
Yeah. So that was our big lesson. That also you the industry take you serious when you are aligned with certain
Yeah.
people.
So there is power of association, and you would
Yes,
know
power
this
of
in
association.
also procurement, right? It can work for you, can work against you.
True.
So if you associate with the wrong people, you lose contracts because you're high risk. You've seen
Yes.
with people that are, fire. You know what I mean? And procurement also is one of the risk checks that we look at. And then also from a good perception is, wow, you work with this client. Okay. By virtue of them just seeing, example, Vodacom, MTN,
Yeah.
or Escom, they're like, oh, we want them.
Yeah.
You are just taken serious.
Yeah.
So you've seen that transition happen.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So now, in terms of staff, we obviously had to hire people. and now start running these operations. Some of your lessons learned, big mistakes that you did.
Like I said initially, hiring wrong people. As a small business or small to medium business, people need to understand that there are certain responsibility that when you are being hired, say for example, you are being hired as the front desk lady, you have to take on more responsibilities. And I think the one thing that I noticed is that when we hire wrong people, they'll have an attitude of, no, but my role is this. And we need to have people that are going to be open to understanding the fact that it's not just me that's going to do, I'm here to do this and I won't do that. Itabi and I will do packing. We will sometimes find ourselves cleaning garments because we're trying to get things out. We'll sometimes be the people that deliver, as much as we do have a person that delivers for us.
But so those are the realities.
Those are the realities that we need to understand, especially when you are being hired by a small to medium-sized business. And as long as you have that attitude that, no, my role and responsibility is this, then, you become a wrong hire, so to speak. Obviously, we've had a lot of people come and go, and we had to think about what is the vision of the business and what is it that we're trying to achieve. And if we felt that the person was not a fit, we started to let people go. Initially, when we started, we were a little cozy family, and she was like, oh, no, it's fine. You can stay, stick around. But then you realize that the customer demands from us.
Quality,
so we
service.
need to demand from our team as well. Yeah.
Just to add on what Upelo is saying, what happened is she's right. I mean, because we're just managing, manageable accounts. With this big one, it acquired us to really think, to start setting apart, roles, because there was just so much within one client. It was no longer like get, receive, send. So there was so much in between that needed to be done, and it was critical information. So that's hence we then started to looking at the team we have. It's like, this one won't manage. So we had to bring in people, because now we are splitting roles, of which in one client is serviced by 3 people. Back then, I mean, 2 ladies were servicing all of our clients. So now I'm talking about one client.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of skills that is required. And also another thing that starting to be, doing big clients is the systems. Manual is no longer doable.
The way to go, yeah.
Right now, it's things that we realize that you start to see that paper won't take you far.
Yeah.
And of which for a number of years, it worked for us. Yes, the systems that we have managed what we need to do, but now for the national deliverables, now you need to invest more. So there's more investment on things that you don't see, or can touch. It's your software and the programs that are taking a lot of cost, of which you cannot see, but it will make the service, run smooth. So I would say that's where chunk of the money, when it comes to the growth, goes to, it's all that,
That systems putting this together.
Yeah.
And okay, so now let's move to pricing. Some of the things you overlook. Maybe you underpriced, or you're breaking even. Some of these things you just, as lessons, did you encounter that in your business?
We did.
Yeah.
We did. I mean, I'll tell you now,
Yeah.
I think when as a business, when you get a contract, the excitement.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes to a certain degree, the bigger business, which is your client, can also influence you in terms of, no, but we can't go this price. It's too expensive.
Yeah.
Why don't you just reduce? And you are willing to do that.
Because you want business.
Because you want business. And I mean, I think this past year, we showed ourselves in the food a lot. Like, and then we sat down and we realized that no, it's not going to work, because we now need to start to see whether are we breaking even, are we making money. And I think so many times we made those mistakes, but I think with experience, we no longer people that just get excited that, oh no, you know what, we've got business. You know, we sit down and we calculate the costs and we explain the costs. And I know with the current contract that we have, thank goodness, you know, we spoke to the client and we said to them, listen, it's costing us more right now. So this, we need to increase our prices. And you know, when you get a contract, they'll say their prices has fixed for a year. And in that process, as you are fixing, you must understand things are going up. I mean, look, the prices are fixed for so long, but we've got VAT that is going up. Everything is going up. Fabric prices are going to go up. So those are the challenges. And I think we don't calculate those things sometimes as small businesses because we're trying so hard to get the business and we overcompromise. So
now you have gotten confident.
We have become way more confident.
Review
way more confident.
So any costly mistakes that you feel like you made with, you know, especially related to the stuff we spoke about offline, tax, VAT, you know, those are the things that we never get taught to do right. For you guys.
So another one that we actually realized the cost, big mistake that we did, not calculating labor cost into our production properly. Remember, you will get the order, you know, but you still need the people to do it. So in your head, when you calculate it, it looks like you're going to do it in a day or in a week. But your labor tells you you need to do it 4 to 6 weeks. That cost is not calculated. So that was the biggest mistake. So now it means then if that order comes in, so if you didn't fulfill it in that week, the second week is already a loss. So that's one big mistake, and we've learned now. Whatever we do, we consider your labor cost.
And how long it's going to take this thing.
And how long it's going to take.
Sure.
Yeah.
Regarding VAT. You know, I heard a businessman say the one time that what he does is as soon as he receives his money, he takes away the VAT and he puts it aside. And I think we've never done that. And it's really cost us in the sense that the money invoices come in, you quickly want to go and refinance and put the money back into the business to do whatever, purchase this, purchase that. And then VAT comes and it's sitting at over 100,000, like, where do we get the money from?
So let's make it practical. You get the PO, say, for 120,000.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's inclusive of
VAT.
And then this guy will take out the 15% of that 120 and put it on a side until year end. He does a submission, he takes that money, pays us.
Yeah.
So in your case, the mistake was you were not doing that.
No, we're not doing that.
When money comes in, for you, it's income.
Yeah.
You reuse it, you do whatever. And then come year end submissions, like, hey, you've got a debt.
You've got a debt. And now you don't have the money.
Sure.
And then, you know, so I think we found ourselves in that kind of problem.
Yeah.
But we've managed to sort of like make arrangements with SARS because there is that option to make arrangements. However, I think it's something that I really would like, if I had to give advice, to say, listen, always try and put the VAT money aside. It's not easy.
Because it's not yours.
It's not yours, but it's and also it's not easy because remember, it's cash flow.
You need money.
You know, there's 30-something thousand sitting in your bank account. But
and there's temptation to say, you need this thing to buy that thing.
Exactly.
You're going to get money.
Yeah.
By the time it comes, you probably forgot to repay it.
Exactly.
Sure.
So it's a lesson, and we all learn from our mistakes. And even if I had to tell someone now to do that, they'll probably think, this lady, what is she talking about?
I know a guy who used to run a cleaning business and also did not put it away. And he was fined heavily and he didn't have the money to pay. So now he had a judgment against him because of that. To say, it's not your money. Where you know, the difficult part about the VAT thing is also, if you are not a VAT paying supplier, but you buy from bad paying suppliers.
Yes.
Now you absorb that money,
Yeah.
which is a loss to you.
Correct.
Because you cannot even claim it from the
Yeah.
clients.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You don't even have a certificate. So it's also the thing of not knowing
Yeah.
and how to navigate it.
Mm.
Sure. So now, yeah.
Sorry, I just want to say also, it would be nice for SARS not to really be so distant to this SMMEs. There's a lot of education that is still required. The truth is not that we don't want to pay. We are not informed.
You're not aware.
We are not aware. We don't understand. There's so much education that needs to take place, So I think the more we are educated, it will be easier for us to comply and do the right thing.
True.
I don't think any business wants to
Not comply.
not
Just-
comply
yeah,
just
yeah,
for the
yeah,
sake
for
of
the
it.
sake of it.
It's definitely not from the point of not knowing and
That's true.
understanding. Yeah.
And that's why we have that summit that's coming up May,
yeah.
which is predominantly talking around tax and contracts compliance. Because one just thinks, I just need to have a vet certificate, that's it. And then you don't understand the implication that comes
Correct.
with the
Yeah.
responsibility of having that certificate with you, or, that compliance. Sure. So now, since you are in business, your decisions, heavy decisions, how do you make
Heavy
this-
decisions.
Yeah, we are not seeing eye to eye. Have you guys ever had that incident or your experience?
Sure.
We have, but I think we found a way to sort of say, okay, fine, we'll go with your decision. It's not to say that we haven't had those issues. It's not to say that we haven't had to make hard decisions. But then when we put our cases on the table, then, we then both have to be not emotional, but have to be logical about certain things.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how we work.
She's an analytic. So whatever I present,
Now you must come with
I go all out to show her we need this.
We've considered 1, 2, 3. Yeah.
So I think that helps.
Okay.
That is one strength I really appreciate, because then it allows me as well to do my homework, So with her as well, when she says, I'm like, hold on, look. So I bring my, my strength. So I think because of that, nothing just goes. She's like, why? Okay. If she says yes, I'm like, yeah, yes. So yeah, I'm
Sound like
comfortable.
such
I
No,
get
but
you. I got
it's her
you.
strength,
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, not necessarily that I know she's, not that I can't make that decision, but we've identified each other's strength. Even if I know it's a yes or no, I will give her that role to look and have a last say to it, to say, okay, there's a presentation. So what's your take?
I think the one thing I appreciate about you, since the time I've spent with you, even offline through our other meetings, is there's a consideration of each other's opinions and a consideration of each other's input, into the conversation, which I'm sure it's something you learned as you were growing together.
Yeah.
Or is the thing of being a Christian, being a nice person?
Well, we've learned.
No, being a Christian doesn't mean we're nice. We're actually not as nice.
No.
I was actually telling one of our
okay.
team members yesterday, and she's new, and we were saying to her that we are nice, but we at work. We sort of you need to know.
Yeah.
Because as much as business is business, you can be nice, but there are certain responsibilities that you cannot just be nice about.
Yeah.
Certain situations that
The
just
role needs you to
it
just
has to
show
be.
up like
yeah,
this.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now, how would you advise women that are in business not getting along, competing with each other, and there's a potential collaboration that can come through and something great comes out like what you guys have built, and it's just not getting there? Or they're starting marabasalwa, what advice would you give to female
Oh,
businesses?
now tell them not to get into business together. Honestly, I
So-
think especially if they're already fighting from the beginning, I would say don't get into business together.
Okay.
Yeah, because I'll be honest with you, it looks cute right now with me and her, but it can be very, very rough. And if you don't know what your vision is for both of you, because at the end of the day, it's the vision that we have. That's the one thing that keeps us going. As much as, by the way, we can pray and do all sorts of things, but the vision that we have, that's what we've bought. She buys into the vision that we put together. So clearly, if you're already fighting, clearly you're not in the same league. And I would really say, you know what, guys, maybe don't work together. Yeah, honestly.
It's more like choosing the right partner.
Yeah.
Yes.
True.
Technically.
True.
She likes using this word. I thought she was going to use it now. You need to be aligned.
Yes, you have to.
So that's number one.
Yeah.
I realized that. I mean, we when we were telling you how we met and so forth, the goal was the same. That's what actually attracts us to each other. It's like, oh my goodness, I want that. Yes, me too. So if that is common, that's your foundation.
So now, guys, life is not perfect.
Yeah.
Some days you feel like, you know what, F this thing.
Yeah.
I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
You're not going to always move in the same wave, right?
Yeah.
And you really are just demotivated. You will just want to quit. One of you.
Yeah.
How do you then deal with picking each other up? Or have you ever had that incident? Can you tell me about it?
Many times.
In division,
Yeah. So many times she would wake up and say, I am tired. I don't want to do this anymore. And, it's always, it's good because when she's got her low, I'm on a high. When I've got my low, she's on a high. And I think that's where we carry one another, where you say, you know what, don't worry, I'll deal with things for now.
Sleep.
Just take time, because it allows, we all have our bad days. Situations, challenges push us into the corner, and we've allowed each other to take that time away to say, listen, let me handle things for now whilst you're dealing with whatever. But things are going to be fine. And it's a constant reminder of, remember, this is what we're wanting to do. This is why we are here.
But have we had an incident like, ngiyakuzwa with the motivations I'm done?
Yeah, no, it's the
Peace out.
sister ngikhathele ngale Bible ongitshela lona.
Yeah.
That's what we're saying.
Please don't quote.
Not today.
Not today.
But how long has each of you stayed away in this relaxing time off?
You know what,
sometimes,
Lerato, it's not too long. You know why? Our responsibility are the people that we have. Yeah, that's the biggest thing that I think says to us.
Yeah,
get over it.
Sure.
Because Uzotosati going through that emotion and you're crying, then I feel, oh, sorry, sister, can I please get this? When are we going? And you're thinking, I was venting, So we've got people and families.
Responsibility.
Yeah.
You wanted to say
I
something?
wanted to say that I'm glad our dream was too big from the word go.
Yeah.
It was just too big, because then I wake up and I feel like giving up. I'm like, no, but I'm almost there.
Yeah.
I can't give this up, And the minute I get that back, I'm like, bruh, please
Unstoppable.
come back. We can do this. Remember that day when we were having coffee and then we laugh and so that helps, just draw strength from the bigger vision, So they always say that dreaming big is free. So don't dream small because it will crash. So it helped because we're thinking, Askabinama 9 branches that we dreamt of.
You haven't also bought your Porsche.
The Bentley.
I haven't driven the Bentley.
Your Bentley.
The Bentley that I always
It
say
still
that,
has to come.
I always say that I have to drive the Bentley B.
At
It
least.
will have that number. I'm not a personalized number plate
Yeah.
person, but I think on that car probably just have the B. But it's just a joke that we always say to each other.
So I think the vision, it keeps us alive.
Yeah.
Got you.
I remember, even if we go places, we talk about crazy things that companies don't consider. And I said to her, I mean, remember, we wanted to build units for our team members so that they stay in a very comfortable place. Because we know some of them, they rent places and there's 9 of them. So hence they come to work, they're tired. So I said, we haven't achieved it. You can't give up, right? So dreaming big.
Dreaming big.
It will keep you aligned, grounded.
So we are almost wrapping up, which I think we can talk more and more. And I wish to have you guys again one day. Just talk on partnership in J.
Okay.
But now, in closing, looking back from where you guys started as a business, bidding, looking for clients, servicing, and then growing the business, mistakes learned, what are the things that you think when you look back you could have done differently for one not to do now that will be watching this show?
For me, definitely putting systems and structures in place.
Okay.
Yeah, that is the biggest thing. I think we went in and we didn't think about that. And now trying to put systems and structures in a thing that is already living, it's very difficult because change management is something that is hard. And not only to the team members, but to us. Okay. We're used to doing things in a certain way. So now we are actually in a process of it's demanding a lot from us, where we have to put systems, put structures, put processes into place. And the one thing that we noticed, especially when we started thinking about this last year, was, one of our team members, the fight that you have, trying to get them to understand that this is not the way we do things anymore. And that change is very difficult for people to take. It's difficult for us as owners, but it is something that has to be done. Yeah, so I would definitely say that.
Put your systems and structures in place
put your systems
as early as you can.
As early as you can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For you?
Yeah, for me, one thing that I wanted to say that please don't believe on your projections because they will always stay positive. They are not real. They're just numbers.
I like that. That was a surprise for her. Your projections are just projections.
They're just
projections.
They remain as projections.
They will remain positive projections until you go out there and find an active customer.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is the biggest mistake. I mean, you can try it, Lerato.
I hear you.
Get any entrepreneur who's got a minus in their projection.
So this goes into end up you guys not paying each other's salaries.
Yeah, correct.
As long as you cover your house, your car, then you have nothing to live off. And that becomes a story for some time.
True.
For a long time.
For the long time.
And it's not a flex, by the way.
No.
To say that we're not paying each other's salaries is not a cool thing. It's just not a cool thing.
It isn't. And you know what? You can do it better now that we know there's many options you can consider in terms of funding, getting access. But it's also the lack of knowledge and where to find these things.
Yeah.
Sure. So where do you guys see your business in the next 5-10 years? Your vision, this vision.
No, to be honest with you, the way I see it, I just see us growing in terms of where we currently are. I see us collaborating with bigger businesses. I see us having more blue chip companies as our customers. I'd like to say, especially to the big blue chip companies, that give SMMEs a chance. We can definitely do it. But more importantly, when I have to speak to the government, I would say to them, I think give us a chance. And I think lately, especially when it comes to manufacturing is being taken outside of the country. We are here. We want to manufacture, but we're not being given a chance. And as much as we are, we'll be told, no, just deal with 500. We want to do more. But then these opportunities are being given to China. And I'll say it's being given to China. And it's a sad reality.
It is.
Yeah.
And I know from the speech again, the SONA, the president mentioned there's going to be more localization.
Yeah.
And with the Procurement Act that has to come into play, there's a huge drive for, again, growing our localization percentage, which is where your point is, manufacturing. Yeah. Though it's expensive because you probably still buy other things from, outside, but rather make it here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You wanted to say your vision?
Yeah, no.
Adding up to what she said?
I just want to say, just to remind her, the 9 province, visibility in
Okay.
terms of our brand and our stores. That's where we are heading.
So that means you guys have a huge job to do with your business scale strategy.
Yes. Scaling our business
Into other parts of the province, isn't there?
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Wow, thank you so much for coming through today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.
Keep going, you're doing well. I mean, there's very few ladies who are into manufacturing and excellence, and then worse, even in PPE. It's one of those very unknown or unpopular sectors or businesses one can own, let alone have women in it. And you guys are trailblazers in the space.
Thank you.
So don't take yourself light.
No, we don't.
Thank you.
You've reminded us a couple of times. Thank you so much.
Do not. You know, the next thing you're going to have a huge plant one day and look back and like, oh, it's in Alaba.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
And may God continue to strengthen your business.
Thank you so much.
Any last words just before we close?
Yeah. For me, I think I will say personally, it starts with believing yourself. And self-doubt is the first enemy that you can actually encounter. Conquer that one first.
Believe in yourself.
Yeah, believe in yourself.
Can I just concur? I think definitely believe in yourself. Because I think the only reason we fail is because of ourselves, nothing else.
So the stories we tell ourselves.
The story that we tell ourselves, the things that we think about ourselves. So just believe and go out there. Don't be afraid.
Yeah.
I think the one thing that sort of like hinders us is we find an excuse already before we actually go out there. And do not undermine yourself. Honestly, I think we've undermined or we've made ourselves downplayed.
Yeah.
And actually, we're big. We are big.
Yeah,
we just downplayed ourselves.
It's a
so
perception.
don't ever downplay yourself.
I also agree with that. You know, at the summit, Shakes is going to be our MC. And Shakes is an incredible motivational speaker, MC, and coach. And he has this program called From Victim to Victor Mindset.
Yeah. Wow.
And when he speaks so passionately about it, just now was born, why did I ever think of law?
Oh, yeah.
So I want you to experience that, and I want people to experience that we are victors in all sorts of ways.
Oh, yeah.
Things happen to us because we are meant to be victors at different levels. So we just need to keep that, you know, believing in self type of thing. You know? Yeah. So guys, thank you so much for tuning in today. This is where we wrap it up. Continue to like, share, and subscribe, and come to the Tender Success Summit 10 May. Purchase your ticket online, and I'll see you guys in the next one.